Welcome back. We are now hearing from Peter Brand, legendary Wall Street trader, who's asking the big question whether Bitcoin has hit an all-time forever top, meaning we're never going to hit these highs ever again. Well, we're going to be discussing that among many other topics, but we're going to be starting today's video right here with Peter Thiel dumping his entire NVIDIA stake and slashing his Tesla holdings amid bubble fears. And as we've been talking about, the whales keep selling, but the retail crowd keeps buying. Everybody wants to know, when is retail entering the crypto and stock market game? Well, guys, they are here and they are bidding the market higher. And they're the ones who are keeping the market from moving the way that it probably should, which is down. That is where we are going. The trajectory and the trend has been down. But again, if the retail keeps buying the dips, well, it prolongs how long it takes to actually reach the bottom of the market. And we're going to be discussing all of that in today's video. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We upload every single day since 2018 to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. Also, don't forget to give the video a free thumbs up. We've been warning on this channel since the middle of 2025 that the market is topping out. And a lot of people mistake our macro view, which is the zoomed out multi-month, multi-week, multi-year picture of where the market is and where the market's going for day-to-day activity in the markets. Like, I'll literally post a video today, market has topped, and then the next day the market may go higher and people are like, haha, Cryptoviser, you were wrong. And I'm like, we're not trading day-to-day. We're trading macro to macro. Let's get right into today's video. Now, just a few weeks ago, I posted a video said, should I short NVIDIA? And probably the answer to that question was yes, because we have been choppy since then. But I want to remind you that NVIDIA has exited China. They went from a 95% market share in China to 0 due to the trade war, the conflict between China and the US currently that's going on. Now, whether that reverses or not, I don't know. But when that happened, we actually saw NVIDIA go to new all-time record highs after that. And by the way, not just record highs for the stock, record highs for the stock market, reaching over $5 trillion in market capitalization. This is the most valued company in the history of the planet. Now, why would that happen if they are losing market share in one of the largest countries in the world by population? Well, I don't know what the answer to that question is, but I do know that there are a lot more worries about the AI bubble. There's a lot of worries about, the data center capacities. There's a lot of worry. And by the way, from my research, NVIDIA was about 30% of their revenue, 20 to 30% was from China. So by them exiting China, we should have seen a 20 to 30% drop in their revenue outlook and probably the valuation of the company. But we didn't see that. But now the whales are dumping the stock. Let's understand a little bit more about what is going on here. So billionaire Peter Thiel has exited his entire stake in AI major NVIDIA, showing filings have showed amid growing concerns of an AI-fueled bubble in tech valuations. He sold about 537,000 shares through the July to September period, according to the SEC filings. The sale price of the shares amounts to nearly $100 million, which obviously is a very small it's a small chip in the $5 trillion valuation, but this is in my view, this is insight into what potentially is going on. Now, he also slashed his holdings in Tesla from 65,000 shares to 65,000 shares, from 272,000 shares. So he reduced by about 200,000 shares total. Now, what's interesting here, and a lot of people don't think that NVIDIA could drop, but I want to show you, like, this is the one-year chart, right? At the lows in April and May, we were at about $100, and now we're at $187. We also have seen that Michael Burry, who's known for The Big Short, he also has 2027 put options on NVIDIA and also Palantir. NVIDIA for the $100 price. So he has 2 years or 3 years to kind of sit and bake in that position. But a lot of people don't think that it's possible to drop this much. But I remind you that if we just pull the Tesla stock price out to the 1 year chart from 2024 into 2025. In December, the Tesla stock price was almost $500, $480. And by March, it was $220, which was a over 50% drop in just 3 months from the end of 2024 into 2025. So these 50% drops in the stock could occur. And once the concern about what is going on starts to advance, right? A lot of times we see smaller cryptos or smaller stocks really move to the downside, and then the big ones, the megas, then they collapse after that. And that brings us to what's going on in the crypto markets and also in the macro stock market. Now, I've been saying this over and over and over on my channel. Most of you guys, most of my regular viewers do understand, and I appreciate that. If you're not a regular viewer, make sure you guys are subscribed. That way you never miss a new video. Also give the video a thumbs up. But we've been talking about this, that the whales have been selling. If you go to my YouTube posts tab on my YouTube page, you can see if you scroll down a little bit, there's a quiz there. It says whales have been selling their Bitcoin since July of 2025, which is, by the way, a fact. We know this for a fact. 50% of the people who took that quiz got it wrong and said false, and still fought it in the comments and fight it on my videos in the comments. And Cryptoviser, the whales aren't selling. It's like, well, who is MicroStrategy buying their Bitcoin from? You? You're not selling. Me? I already sold, right? They're buying it from the whales. The whales are selling. Hedge funds are still dumping stocks while retail investors keep the bull market alive. This is straight from CNBC. Professional investors have been using the market's record-setting run as an opportunity to take profits, aka exit liquidity. This is what we talk about on a regular basis, right? The smart money knows the exit liquidity, the liquidity in the coming into the market is not going to be there forever. Now, a lot of retail, I think that the reason they don't get it is because they get caught up in the hype and or they're just new to the market, right? They're like, oh, well, I'm a genius. My stock price keeps going up. My crypto price keeps going up. But that doesn't last forever, right? I mean, we talk about market cycles on this channel regularly, and it's really important to understand when enough is enough. Because if you are up 100, 200, 300, 400%, I mean, I get caught up in this as well sometimes. But you have to kind of take a step back and say, okay, I'm up 400%. This doesn't happen in any stock on a regular basis. Need to take profits out of it. I could still be bullish on the company, on the stock, on the crypto, whatever it is. But that doesn't mean I have to hold it. That doesn't mean I'm not going to take profits off of it. That would be ridiculous. That would be fiduciarily irresponsible for my own portfolio. And retail investors have been doing much of the heavy lifting in this 3-year-old bull market. It's not like the bull market just started, and I'm still seeing YouTubers saying, the bull market, we're ready to take off. The bull market's about to begin. And it's like, where have they been? Like, we've been in a bull market. Hedge funds and other institutional clients have been the biggest net sellers of single stocks and ETFs this year, unloading more than $67 billion worth of equities in 2025. And so if you think that you're going to outsmart the smart money, you're not. You're not. They've already been selling, and they have been selling. And we on this channel, we've been so far ahead of the game. I told my viewers back in July, top of the market. People like, no, Cryptoviser, we're not at the top of the market. And we did hit higher highs after that. But for like 1 or 2 days, for the most part, we've been down, and we're going to continue to go down. And we've been betting against the market since that July timeframe when we called the top on this channel, and we have been printing money. That was MicroStrategy's top. That was the Ethereum treasury company's top, the Bitcoin treasury company's tops, many of the Bitcoin mining companies' tops as well. We called that to the day on this channel, basically. And that brings us to Peter Brandt. He retweeted this post that shows a chart of the Bitcoin price from basically about June of this year. And you can see the big run up in June and July, and then kind of sideways trading, a little bit higher highs up until about October, when we hit the $126,000 price, and then massive drawdown. And if you guys know what the psychology of market charts or psychology of the market cycle looks like, this looks like out of complacency phase, right? Euphoria was in the middle of the year. That was when all of these companies were popping off and, oh, we're going to buy Bitcoin, we're going to buy Ethereum, all of that. That was euphoria. Everything after that was complacency. And then after the complacency phase, you hit into anxiety phase, panic phase, denial phase, capitulation. We're nowhere near capitulation just yet because there's still so many people who are buying the dip saying, oh no, we're not at the top of the market. We're about to start the bull market. It's like, what? What? So yeah, you can clearly see that there is a massive, there's massive weakness in the market, and a lot of people are trying to fight that trend, but there's not even enough money to fight the trend, right? Especially when the smart money knows what the hell's going on. Anyway, Peter Brandt said in a complete agreement with my friend Axel, who basically just posted the chart and showed that, you know, basically he said, is in a previous post, is Bitcoin forming a broadening top? What are the levels that would validate or negate this interpretation? Is the uptrend challenged? I answered these in his latest thing that was in the beginning of November. Then he posted this chart, which showed basically, I think this is a descending triangle or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not a chartist, and I don't necessarily agree with how charting is, but Peter Brandt is a chartist that I follow, and he always says, like, he's not looking at a chart and saying this is going to happen. He's just saying what is the probability of this happening, and charts can sometimes help with theorizing what your investment thesis is or should be. He said he's in complete agreement with that. The big question, though, is has Bitcoin made an all-time forever top? As a Bayesian trader, this is a narrative he's chewing on. The short-term prior argue in favor. And so he's thinking that Bitcoin has hit this all-time record high forever, meaning we're never going to hit these highs again. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but it is very important to understand that every single cycle, this is the Bitcoin halving chart, days since the halving, from this cycle, the previous cycle, cycle before that, and then the first cycle. And effectively, you can see every single cycle on the scaled up chart shows that we've had diminishing returns every single cycle. But people are like, no, Cryptoviser, we're not having diminishing returns. We just haven't hit the bull market yet. It's like, no. The 4-year cycle is coded into Bitcoin. And there's people who argue that Cryptoviser, Rugpull said that we have an extended cycle. This other YouTuber said we have an extended cycle. It's like, well, they said the same thing in the previous cycle as well. The cycle is 4 years. Maybe Bitcoin tops out a little bit further along in the cycle, but the cycle is 4 years. And we can clearly see that we go up for a year, down for a year, up for a year, down for a year, right? That's basically how it works. Now, it may not be exactly a year, but in 4-year cycle, you can see we go up, come down, sideways, up, down, up, right? That's literally how it happens. But people will fight and say, no, Cryptoviser, this time is different. This is happening, this, whatever. Then you trade like we're beginning the bull market and you're going to lose all your money, right? I mean, most of my viewers, you guys get it. You've probably been out of the market for many months now and are probably making so much freaking money while everybody else is freaking out. And that is the point, right? We are trading against all of these people who are just completely oblivious to everything that we know about the cycle. This is not rocket science. This one chart can tell you exactly to the day when the top of the market is going to be hit. And people are fighting it, saying, no, well, this time is different, Cryptoviser, because Rugpull said that we haven't hit the banana zone yet. And it's like, well, he can say whatever the F he wants, right? It doesn't matter. And we've also seen, I've seen on my channel a lot, people talking about the M2 money supply, saying, well, Cryptoviser, the M2 money supply is printing like crazy. That means that Bitcoin's going to go up. It's like, first of all, no, it doesn't. And second of all, the money supply, M2 money supply has been increasing forever, right? It's never actually fully decreased by any substantial margin. But Bitcoin has, stocks have, the markets have. And so this idea that, like Magoo on X said back in April, if you posted a picture below, you might just be a moron talking about this M2 money supply in Bitcoin. And how has that played out? Right? I've had people on my channel commenting, Cryptoviser, you're a fraudster, you're an idiot, you don't even know how the M2 money supply is. It's like, I've been researching these markets every freaking day, every day since 2018. And you're telling me that the M2 money supply is increasing and that means that Bitcoin's going to go higher and completely defy the cycle. Okay, that's who we're trading against, guys. That's who we're trading against. And Magoo finally said, can we finally agree the M2 correlation model was a scam? Yes, it was. Same way that the stock to flow model in the previous cycle was a big scam as well. Crypto whales are selling Bitcoin as it sinks below $100,000. Should investors be worried? Well, I can tell you guys this. My viewers, we're not worried because we're making money whether the market goes high or the market goes low. The bulls, they're worried because they're losing money because now they're underwater. And by the way, it's not just the bulls, it's also the Bitcoin treasury companies. Now, to give you guys some insight on this, right? Like I said, I've been telling you guys since the middle of the year that we topped out in the market in the macro sense. Whether you listened to that, did anything with it, that's up to you, right? I'm not here. I don't really care what you do with your portfolio. That's what a lot of the tourists on the channel think. They're like, well, Cryptoviser, you're going to be wrong in the short term. It's like, why do you care about my portfolio? I don't care about your portfolio. I'm just sharing my opinions and my analysis in the market. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Will I be wrong? I mean, we haven't been wrong yet on this channel, like in the macro sense. We've been wrong on individual calls, but like I said, every trade is not going to be a winner. As long as the aggregate, right, is a winner. I could have 10 trades and 9 of those trades go to zero. As long as one trade goes up 20, 30, 40, 50x, boom, we're done. We're good. And that's what's been happening. Literally in everything that we've been talking about since the middle of the year. And that's what I want. I want everybody who watches my videos to make money in the markets, right? I want you guys to have a financial increase in your portfolio wealth. But yeah, Bitcoin is going under 100,000. And the Bitcoin treasury companies, some of them are brand new. They bought over $100,000, $115,000, $120,000. And people are like, well, the stock is already down 97%, so it's not going to go down anymore. It's like, no, it can go down another 97% from here. Because the drop in the price was just because people selling the stock. It wasn't because of the price drop in Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is going much lower. Like the more people that you hear say, oh, we're never going to hit $70,000, the more likely we will. The more people that you hear say, we're not going to hit $50,000 Bitcoin, the more likely we will. Because I'm not even hearing what the downside effects of the market are going to be from most of these YouTubers and influencers on X and other social media. Most of them are just talking about, we're about to hit 150,000. It's like, we're going down. Like, what do you mean we're about to hit 150,000? I'm already thinking about when I'm going to buy back in. You're buying at $100,000 as we're trending down. I'm waiting for 50,000. Oh, we're not going to hit that Cryptoviser. It's like, well, you've been wrong 100% of this cycle so far. We have not been wrong on this channel. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the market. People like Cryptoviser, when the market pops to 150, you're going to regret it. It's like, regret what? Like, if you really think the market's going to go higher forever, right? I want you guys to think about this. If you think that the market is just going to keep going higher forever, then that means there's no bad time to buy. But the fact is, they're trying to convince people to buy into the market. That tells you they're not even confident in their portfolio. I don't give a if you believe the market's going higher or lower. I don't care what you do in your portfolio. Do I want my viewers to make money? Of course. But do I care if they do make money or not? Not really. Like, you have to make your own portfolio thesis. You have to make your own decisions in the market. And we've been doing that. And we have been winning. And how do we know we've been winning? Well, if we look from basically October highs, all of the ETFs, and this is one of the other things the bulls keep saying, well, Wall Street is joining. Wall Street is here. Wall Street is buying. It's like, no, they bought already. Now they're selling. And this is the ETF flows from Farsight Investors. So you can see we're going to be looking at this last column here. This is the net aggregate amount of purchases or sales from the ETFs collectively day by day. And you can see from basically the middle of October, when we had inflows, right, and we hit new all-time record highs, beginning of October, we had a lot of inflows. And then we hit new all-time highs, and then boom, 101 million out, 500 million out, 360 million out, 100 million out. Now, November, 400 million out, 500 million out, 200 million out, 180 million out, 566 out. We've had literally billions and billions of dollars of outflows from the Bitcoin ETFs. Billions, and this is the Ethereum ETFs. Hundreds of millions of dollars of outflows from the Ethereum ETFs. The whales are selling. And there's bulls out here that are like, no, the whales are not selling Cryptoviser. Don't say that. You're just funning. And it's like, I'm just looking at the data. The data is clearly showing we're in a downtrend. The data is clearly showing we're heading into a rotation, well, we're in the rotation phase to a bear market. Whether you agree with that or not, that's up to you. But that's what's happening. I mean, it's literally what the charts show. And so this user said, so next is the bull trap. But we've already been in the bull trap. That's the thing. I've been saying, go look at my videos, type in Cryptoviser bull trap and look for September or August. It was at the end of August, early September that I posted a video that with the Federal Reserve Chairman on the thumbnail. He warned the markets that we were going into a bull trap, and people didn't listen. And so after the top of the market, we dipped down, and all the bulls say, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. We were not. We were continuing to move forward with our thesis that the market was going to continue to trend down, and they were continuing to bid it up. But after that final pump, right, that final roller coaster goes over the final hump, boom, straight down. Fear, anxiety, denial, capitulation, and despair. We're not even close to the bottom of the market yet. Believe that. We are not even close to the bottom of the market. Meanwhile, in the Bitcoin treasury world, Peter Schiff is calling out MicroStrategy as basically calling it fraud. He said MicroStrategy's business model relies on income-oriented funds buying its high-yield preferred shares. But those published yields will never actually be paid. Once fund managers realize this, they'll dump the preferred shares and MicroStrategy won't be able to issue any more, setting off a death spiral. He also said MicroStrategy's entire business model is a fraud. Saylor and I will both be speaking at the Binance Blockchain Week in December. I challenge Michael Saylor to debate this proposition with me, regardless of what happens to Bitcoin. I believe MicroStrategy will eventually go bankrupt. Let's go. Now, I don't know whether they're going to, I would imagine Saylor will probably not have an issue having a debate with Peter Schiff. But here's the deal. MicroStrategy, I think in the long term, they're going to be okay. But they have to get through the bear market. And this bear market is going to be very difficult for MicroStrategy, for all the shareholders, for all the preferred shareholders. Because what are they doing, right? This is from the end of November 2025. MicroStrategy raised $136 million to buy Bitcoin, okay? They bought more Bitcoin. And you can see that the purchases of Bitcoin continue to get less and less and less and less, right? It says $836 million, but in this form it says 136 million. So I'm not really sure how that happened, but anyway. So the issue here is that they have 4 debt products. They just opened a European debt product, so 5 debt products. They may not call them debt, but they're debt, right, or preferred shares. But effectively, if you hold MicroStrategy, you don't have first dibs on the Bitcoin in the event of a liquidation. The preferred shares do. But even the preferred shares may not get it because MicroStrategy has a subsidiary called MacroStrategy, which actually owns the Bitcoin. And so who actually owns MacroStrategy? Is it the preferred shareholders? Is it MicroStrategy shareholders? Or is it none of the above? Again, there's so much financial gibberish and financial alchemy here that they've created to obfuscate what is owned by who and who actually gets what. And people are getting caught up in this momentum. They're getting caught up in this excitement of MicroStrategy. I mean, I really don't get it either. Is Michael Saylor a smart guy? Yes. Like, is he doing a lot of financial things that a lot of other companies and people wouldn't do? Of course. But at the same time, there's a lot of risk here, like a lot of risk. And people are acting like he's God, and he's not. All he's doing is buying Bitcoin. There's no, you can do that on your own without buying into any of this stuff. But people are getting caught up, right? And this is how you know that we are in and past euphoria. Because people are like, wow, I got to get Stretch because Stretch is a perpetual, I'm going to get 10.5% interest. So I can borrow money from my bank, then go, I'm going to borrow the money for, let's say, 4% or 5%. And then I'm going to buy Stretch with it. I'm going to get 10.5%. So I'm actually going to get 6.5%. So I'm going to arbitrage trade that. So I'm actually going to get 6.5% because I'm getting this. But it's like, yeah, but what if they can't pay the dividend, which is highly likely in a bear market? Because right now they're able to raise the money, but they're able to do it until they can't. And when they can't, we don't know. When Bitcoin, and by the way, Bitcoin is going to test them. They're going to test MicroStrategy 100%. The Bitcoin market is going to test MicroStrategy. That means that we're going much lower. Like it's probably going lower than most people think. I mean, I think that we're going to $50,000, $60,000, but part of me also thinks that we're going to $20,000 because the market is going to test MicroStrategy. And when it does, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to lose a lot of money and they're going to get, fully liquidated, especially if they're borrowing money to buy these products as an arbitrage play to get an extra 2-3%. And they're doing this with hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. They're going to get liquidated. Same thing happened in the previous cycle with Celsius, Voyager, 3 Hours Capital, Terra Luna, BlockFi, and FTX. They were promising 10% interest on their crypto yields. And then all the cryptos went to zero. And then the yields went to zero. And then the companies went to zero. And you, as the holder of that stock or that crypto in that platform, you went to zero. You lost everything. That's going to happen. I mean, so much so, we have another, I wanted to highlight this again on this video. You know, we have influencers like this. I bought MetaPlanet at $3 and rode it all the way up and all the way back down. My 3x MNAV price is now 1x MNAV price. In Bitcoin terms, my position is up, which means in fiat terms, the floor is raised. What? You just said you rode MetaPlanet from $3. Okay, let's look at the price. I want you guys to see this because people are following this. He went from $3, okay, which is right here, $3 all the way up to $15, so a 5x, and then rode it back down. Went from a 3x MNAV, which is your stock is overvalued, to your stock is at par, and now we're under your buy price, and you're saying still more bullish on the stock more than anything and holding for that at least a few years. You're underwater and you're the most bullish that you've been. This is not the point of investing, guys. The point of investing is to buy low, sell high. Bottom line. Bottom line. I don't get it. I don't understand what is going on here. And that brings us to the Cardones. It was reported that the Cardone family would place an order for $90 million worth of Bitcoin, and Gary Cardone said, once we move in, we do not deviate from the mission. Players like the Cardones are very different investors than you've paid attention to before. Not all business guys are reckless or short-term profit focused. The mature players focus on a strategy to make a highly convicted, concentrated investment for long-term explosive growth and a preservation of capital. Conviction is a learned skill. Now, in the long term, and these guys are longer term investors, so you have to keep that in mind. But they don't understand the cycle. I really feel that they don't understand the cycle. They don't understand how these cycles operate. Because we're going much lower, right? You could have gotten double. If we go to 50,000, you can get double the amount. And they invested in Nakamoto, and Nakamoto went similar to MetaPlanet. Nakamoto, just in the last 6 months, went from $25, and now it's down to 50 cents. And by the way, we're getting very close to bullishness on this stock because once it gets like 10 cents or below, there's only so much lower it can go, right? And we'll probably get bumps in the price. So there's going to be an opportunity. Same thing with ASST. ASST is also, getting shilled by the shillers. And it's down 97%, 91 to 92%. And the shillers are buying it at $1.50 and saying, wow, I'm upping my position on Strive right now. And boom, we're down 30% since they said that. Like, this is the market that we are in. This is the market that we are in. And so Tom Lee, who's the Ethereum strategy company, BitMine, he said to me, weakness in crypto has all the signs of a market maker or two with a major hole in their balance sheet. And by the way, this is not good. He said, sharks are circling to trigger a liquidation and dumping prices of Bitcoin. Is this pain short term? Yes. Does this change the Ethereum super cycle of Wall Street building on blockchain? No. This is not a time to use leverage. Don't get liquidated. And so Tom Lee is even raising the alarms that there is something going on in the markets, right? And the market is going to test all of these players. And there will be a lot of players that are going to have a hole in their balance sheet. They're going to get liquidated. We don't know which ones. We don't know what part of the markets they're going to be in, but it's going to occur. And you don't want to be in the market when that occurs because it is a straight drop. You want to have money on the side to buy that dip. Now, when it happens, I don't know. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But we also have this, and we'll close the video out with this. It was reported by ZachXBT on X saying, on-chain cloud of the month. A Cardano holder swapped 14.4 million ADA, worth about $7 million, for 847,000 Cardano's stable coin, and lost $6.05 million due to low liquidity, causing the price to sharply spike temporarily. Previously, the fund sat dormant for 5 years. So effectively, the wallet was from pre-2020, and there's been updates to the Cardano's ecosystem since then, but this dormant wallet went to on a DEX, on a Cardano DEX, to swap it for the Cardano stablecoin, which has no liquidity, and that's why they ended up losing $6 million on that swap. And this just goes into what I said in the previous cycle, right? One full cycle ago, I said the fact that Cardano still has no stable coins and the community of Cardano seem to not want stable coins on Cardano. I mean, they do want stable coins. They want their own stable coin. They don't want USDC. They don't want Tether. For whatever reasons, they didn't want it, and they still don't have it to this day. And because of that, they still have no liquidity. Nobody's using. There's no bridges into Cardano. These are all major issues for Cardano. And the fact that they still don't have this stuff when pretty much every other blockchain in existence has connectivity to Ethereum bridges, connectivity to USDC and Tether, tells me they don't really want the blockchain to succeed. I don't understand why they wouldn't do this at this point. And for that, the Cardano holder lost $6 million from a swap. So they're just continuing to get like decimated. It just doesn't make any sense. But again, from cycle to cycle, you guys have to understand a lot of things change in the markets, and the market, there may be liquidity today and there may be no liquidity tomorrow. So you have to pay attention to that. Let me know what you guys think down below, and good luck in these markets. Nothing I say is financial advice. Do me a favor, give the video a free thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.